Hi everyone. So welcome to the live stream today. Very much excited for having you on the part 2 of our public financial management discussion with focus on sources of revenue to the government. Yesterday we started with the part 1, and in case you missed that, I'm going to put it in the description on YouTube so that you'll be able to get access to and watch. Esther Akosa on YouTube, I see you. You are welcome to the stream. And for those of you who are watching on Facebook also, you are welcome. You can comment in the chat box on Facebook and in the comment box on YouTube, and I'll be reading all of your comments. Any questions you have for me, put it in the comment box or the chat box, and I'll be replying to all of your comments and be able to assist you to prepare well for the examination. So, any questions for me quick as we go to the part 2 of this discussion on sources of revenue? Today we're going to be focusing on the central local government, because yesterday we discussed the issue with the local government, the central government. So today we're going to be looking at the central government and how, no, yesterday we looked at the central government instead. So today we're going to be focusing on the local government and look at the various sources of revenue to the local government. Adele, you see on YouTube, I see you as well. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream. So you comment below with any questions that you have. When you join the stream, give us a thumbs up on the video. That way we get more engagement on the video, and YouTube will be able to push the video so we can reach as many students as possible, and together we can assist a lot of students. So consider to give a thumbs up on the video and comment below with any questions that you have. You can also share the video so we can reach as many students as possible, both on Facebook as well as on YouTube. You can share the video so that we can reach others as well. Now, for those of you watching on Facebook, you can comment. Today we are streaming simultaneously on Facebook as well as on YouTube. So for those of you watching on Facebook, you can comment below with any questions that you have, and then we will be able to go through with our discussions. So yesterday we discussed about the central government and looked at the sources of revenue to the central government. We focused our attention on looking at the tax revenues, the non-tax revenues, we looked at grants, we looked at petroleum revenue, and then other receipts. So we categorized the sources of revenue to the central government into these 5 major categories, and you saw how the various things are done and the various things that we need to cover in order for us to understand that very well. Okay, so on Facebook, I'm seeing a comment coming from Menufie King 40. He said, Mr. Nhyira, please, from here, can you also tackle taxation topics like employment income and VAT, please? Okay, so Kingsford on Facebook, you can check our YouTube channel. We already have some content available on employment income, the way you'll be able to calculate the chargeable income, as well as on VAT. I did a 2-part series on VAT already available on the channel. So check out our YouTube channel, the playlist taxation and fiscal policy, I guess, and you'll be able to get the content on that. So Kingsford, you can start watching that even before I come and tackle other issues in taxation. If you are watching on YouTube, comment below with any questions that you have as we look at the part 2 of the sources of revenue to the government. So today our focus is going to be the sources of revenue, but we are going to be looking at the local government. Now, when we talk about the local government, revenue from the local government or the local government is governed by the Local Government Act 2016 Act 936. So basically, we're going to be looking at Local Government Act, the Local Government Act, 2016 Act 936. Alright? So this local government under section 124 of the Local Government Act, we are giving the details or the breakdown of the various sources of revenue to the local government. Now, from the Act, we can categorize the sources of revenue to the local government into three major categories. Remember yesterday when we were discussing the issue about the private sector, by the central government, we did 5 categorization: the tax revenues, the non-tax revenue, the grants, the petroleum revenues, and then other receipts. Now, when it comes to the local governments, that is dealing with the metropolitan municipal district assemblies, when we come to the local government, section 124 of the Local Government Act categorizes the various sources of revenue to the local government into 3. So this time around in the local government, we're going to be looking at 3 major categories into which the local government revenue can be put. So let's list them down, then we're going to certainly take them one after the other. So the first one is called decentralized transfer. Decentralized transfers. Then we come to the second one, and that is internally generated fund, IGF. Let me put it that way. IGF. And then the third one is donations and grants. So when it comes to the local government dealing with the metropolitan municipal district assemblies, their sources of revenue can be categorized into these 3 categories, and that is decentralized revenue, and then the issue in relation to IGF, internally generated fund. Then the third one will be donations as well as grants. Donations as well as grants. So let's take them one after the other briefly, and then let's talk about them. So let's start with decentralized transfers. Decentralized transfers. Decentralized transfers. Now, decentralized transfers sometimes can also be referred to as the intergovernmental transfers. The intergovernmental transfers. Now, what do we mean by that? This refers to all resources transferred from the central government to the local government, whether mandatory or voluntary. Let's take it. So the decentralized transfers are all resources transferred from the central government to the local government, whether mandatory or voluntary. So decentralized transfer, the money that is transferred from the consolidated fund, from the central government to the metropolitan municipal district assemblies, either mandatorily because we are talking about the laws of the country, and then voluntarily because it could be something that the government wants to do, and we are going to be getting deeper into them in a moment. So that is the idea about decentralized transfers. Decentralized transfers. Now, let's see what we have in there. YouTube, more or less like my video is a little blur. Just trying to make sure you can deal with that. Okay, so I guess we're good now. Let me know in the chat box if our video is okay on YouTube. Okay, so Zara or Zakaria Jimba, I see you. You are welcome to the stream. Abraham O. Colley on YouTube said it's okay. All right, Abraham, thank you very much. Give us a thumbs up on the video when you join. That way we get more engagement on the video, and comment as well in the chat box, in the comment box, any questions that you have for me on that. So we're looking at the sources of revenue to the local government, that is the metropolitan municipal district assemblies, and we've said that according to the section 124 of the Local Government Act 2016, Act 936, the sources of revenue to the local government can be categorized into three. So we have the decentralized transfers, we have the internally generated funds, and then we have donations and grants. And we want to pick these one after the other and talk about them. So the first one is decentralized transfer, and we are saying that decentralized transfers are all resources transferred from the central government to the local government mandatorily or voluntarily. All right, and we said another name that we can use to represent decentralized transfer can also be intergovernmental transfers. All right, intergovernmental transfers. Now, what are the examples of this? The decentralized transfers comprise the following. One, the district assembly common fund. The district assembly common fund. Now, if you're a good student in public sector, you will know that one of the major sources of revenue to the local government is the district assembly common fund. Now, it is enshrined in the constitution that for a given period or for a budgeted period under consideration, at least 5% of total budgeted revenue should be given to the local assembly, or to be given to the local government, so that they will use that in their developmental projects and all of that. So minimum of 5% has to be given. So the first source, and that is mandatory, that is statutory in the constitution. So every government that comes every year, minimum 5% should be given to them. So that is the first one, the district assembly common fund. Then the next one is grants in aid from the central government. Grants in aid from the central government. Grants in aid from the central government. Now, when we say grants in aid from the central government, what are we talking about? This is optional. Remember, the district assembly common fund is mandatory. It is enshrined in the constitution that it has to be given to the local government because that is their major source of revenue. But then, this is optional. This is voluntary, and that is a grant in aid from the central government. Now, these are like district development facilities. Like, for instance, one constituency, $1 million, that policy under the current administration in Ghana, it's a form of what? Grants in aid that the government is giving to them so that they can use that money to construct any developmental facility or project that they have within their community or that they need. So some people are constructing toilet facilities, others are constructing water, others are constructing, rehabilitating schools, roads, and all of those things. So whatever it is that the district will find to be their need, they will use that form of money to be able to take it in that case, or to spend on those things. Inshallah, Peter, I see you on YouTube. You said good day. Longest time, I missed a lot. Yes, we resumed our live stream yesterday, so you missed yesterday's lecture, but you can watch that as well on the channel. I'm going to link that as well in the description of this video on YouTube, and then you'll be able to watch that as well. So the District Assembly Common Fund, statutory, mandatory, grant in aid, that is optional. Then any other revenue transferred by the central government to the local government. Any other revenue transferred by the central government to the local government. Now, what do we mean here? Stay with me carefully on this one. What do we mean here? You see, there are times when government will pay the wages and salaries or other expenses of the local government directly from the consolidated fund. Now, I want you to stay with me here. Now, government is supposed to have given them the money so that they will do their own payments, or they will make their own payments. However, sometimes the government makes the payment on their behalf directly from the consolidated fund. Anytime there is a transaction like that, it must be treated twice in the books of the local assembly or the metropolis that we are talking about. One, it has to be treated as their revenue, and then two, it has to be treated the same thing as what? Expenses. So any other revenue transferred from the central government to the local government in the form of payment of wages and salary on behalf of the local government, on behalf of the metropolis, is also a source of revenue to them that we need to look out for. Mafu Ej, I see you on YouTube. You are welcome to the stream. Give us a thumbs up on the video, and then comment below with any questions that you have. Kwabena Ajiman, I see you. Lazarus Arsenal, I see you. These are on Facebook. Today we are streaming simultaneously on Facebook as well as on YouTube, so that we'll be able to reach others who are not going to be able to watch on YouTube for some reason in that case. So when we talk about the decentralized transfers, these are the three things we're talking about. The District Assembly Common Fund, the grants in aid from the central government, and then any other revenue that is payments made on their behalf. Payments made on their behalf. So that is the first category of the revenue sources to the local government. Now let's go to the next thing, and then let's look at the second one in there. The second thing we want to look at is IGF, internally generated fund. Internally generated fund. Internally generated fund. Now, aside the transfers from the central government to the local government, some of the local government, that is the metropolitan, the municipal, the district assemblies, are mandated by the Local Government Acts and other regulations to raise certain revenues. And those revenues that they raise on their own, that they collect on their own, are what we refer to as the internally generated fund. The internally generated fund. So let's look at the internally generated fund. Internally generated funds refer to monies that metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies are authorized by the Local Government Act to collect within their jurisdiction. Let's take the definition again. Internally generated funds refer to monies that metropolitans, municipal, and district assemblies are authorized by the jurisdiction. So the monies that they are authorized by the Local Government Act to collect within their respective jurisdiction are what we refer to as what? The internally generated fund. Now, the Local Government Act categorized the internally generated fund into a couple of groups. So let's look at that real quick. IGF are categorized into what we call licenses. Then we have the second category called fees and miscellaneous charges. And then we have a third category called taxes. The fourth category, investment income. Then we have rates. And then fines and penalties. Alright? So what are we saying here? What are we saying here? This is what we are saying. We are saying that the Local Government Act defines the internally generated funds as monies that they are supposed to collect in their respective jurisdiction. And why are they able to collect that? Because they are mandated by the Local Government Act to collect such revenues, So what are the types of revenues that can be generated by the metropolitan municipal district assemblies on their own? And we can categorize them into these 6 categories that we have here in that case. Fines and penalties, licenses, investment income, fees and charges, rates, and then taxes. So let's take them one after the other and let's try to dive a little deeper into them in relation to what each of them covers or what each of them entails. So let's go there. Let's start with the licenses. So the licenses. So you realize that there are various things that if you want to do in this country, you need to obtain what? A license. So various forms of licenses that are obtainable at the local assembly level comes under this. So vehicle licenses, entertainment licenses, and economic operators licenses. So for instance, you are a cinema, you need a license to operate. That is a source of revenue to them. Dog licenses, hawkers licenses. So you are hawking, you're supposed to obtain a license. That is there. Palm wine sellers licenses, herbalists licenses. So as a herbalist, you need a license to operate. You need to be given a license before you can operate within a jurisdiction. That money goes to the metropolis, to the municipal as a source of revenue for them. Then taxi drivers licenses, self-employed artisans licenses, birth and death licenses. So all of these are various sources of revenues that fall under what we call the licenses. I hope you are getting the idea. This falls under what we call licenses. Then we come to the second category. And that is going to be the fees and miscellaneous charges. Fees and miscellaneous charges. This has to do with market dues. So you realize that when you go to the market, a lot of the market women, they pay dues. That falls here. Lorry park dues, the lorry stations, the drivers pay dues, AMA collects that money. That is also a source of revenue to them. Then chop bars, dressing stations, cattle or slaughterhouses, all of those as well pay some amount of fees to the to the metropolis or to the municipal assembly, and that is also a source of revenue to them. Then we come to taxes. These are income earners. Now, usually the Ghana Revenue Authority is required to collect you know that when it comes to taxes, it has now been put in or entrusted in the hand of the Ghana Revenue Authority. So at the end of the period, they are supposed to collect the tax and then remit it to the revenue or remit it to the how do we call it, to the local assembly. But what has been happening is that because of some reasons, when the money is received and paid into the consolidated fund, you will end up, or the money ends up being used by the government, by the central government, and not given to the local governments the way it is supposed to be. But that is what is enshrined in the law. They are supposed to collect the money on behalf of the local assembly and pay it to them. So these taxes include things such as spare parts dealers, the income tax that they need to pay, drinking bar operators, the money that they make, corn mill operators, the money that they make, video operators, livestock breeders and traders, liquor sellers, hairdressers, refrigeration and air conditioning workshop owners. All of these people fall under what we refer to as what? Taxes. They are going to be earning some income. So on the income that they earn, they are supposed to pay taxes. Usually, the way this is paid is that because it's in the informal sector, it could be something like tax sums that they give to them, because really these people will not be able to prepare any good books of accounts for some reason. Hence, we need to charge them whatever we need to charge them using either a standard fee or a tax stamp in relation to that. So that is what you need to understand when we talk about taxes. Then investment income. Sometimes when the metropolitan municipal district assemblies have some surplus cash, what do you do with surplus cash? You invest it. You put it into some safe investment. So if they reinvest some of their surplus cash, either by buying government bonds or treasury bills or putting it into other risk-free investment opportunities, whatever money they make from that, that is an investment income, and that forms part of their internally generated funds. Then we come to fees and penalties. That is also there. Like the name suggests, fees and penalties. So you see something on AMA on street parking. So for instance, no parking, you're not supposed to park your car here, and you don't know about it, then you park your car. Then when you park the car, AMA will come and lock the car. When you come, you want to drive, you cannot drive because the car has been locked. Then they will say, okay, come to the office. You go to the office, and whatever fee or fine it is that you need to pay, you pay it, and then your car will be unlocked, then you'll be able to go away. That is also a source of revenue to the local assembly in relation to that, and that forms part of their internally generated fund. Then the last thing there is rates. Now, usually rates are categorized into three. We have what we call the basic rates, we have the property rates, and then we have other special rates. Okay, so the basic rates payable by almost everyone, then the property rates based on the ownership of various properties, and then other forms of rates that can be paid by various individuals depending on whatever that it is that we can talk or we are talking about. So what are we saying here? According to the Local Government Act 2016, Act 936, the local government sources of revenue comprises the following. We can look at licenses, fees and penalties, fees and miscellaneous charges, fines and penalties rather, fees and miscellaneous charges, investment income, taxes, as well as what? Rates, as well as rates in relation to that. So these are the things that we need to understand about that. Now, apart from these, so the decentralized transfer, what is given from the central government to the local government, whether statutorily or optionally or voluntarily, or we're talking about the IGL. Then the third category will be donations and grants. Donations and grants. So for instance, sometimes international organizations or corporate individuals can donate money directly either to the AMA, directly to a metropolitan, directly to a district assembly. In that case, that also forms part of their revenue. In that case, that also forms part of their revenue. So when we talk about sources of revenues to the local governments, these are the categories that we need to talk about. Now, remember what I told you yesterday, that your ability to be able to understand this is not just for the understanding of the theory aspect, because when we go to the preparation of the final accounts, you're going to be dealing with that based on your understanding on these things. So if you get to the final account of a metropolis, final account of a municipal, and you're looking at their sources of revenue, it has to be categorized into decentralized transfers, the internally generated fund. Now, under the internally generated fund, we may have to sub-categorize it into licenses, into rates, into investment income, into fines and penalties, into fees and what? Miscellaneous charges. This is very, very important. How do you get a treatment about that? Alright. Any questions, you put it in the chat box for me, and then give us a thumbs up on the video as well when you join the stream. Kennedy Onyango said, hi, this is Kennedy from Uganda. Hello, Kennedy. Thank you for joining the stream. Give us a thumbs up on the video when you join, and comment in the chat box any questions that you have. Khadija Mensa, I see you in the chat box. Thank you for joining the stream. Any questions, you put it in the chat box, and anything that you want us to cover more on the channel, put that as well on the chat box, in the chat box, as we gather our topics to know what exactly we're going to be discussing as we proceed with our discussion on that. So what have we done so far? We've looked at the sources of revenue to the central government, and we said when it comes to the central government, the revenue sources can be categorized into tax revenues, non-tax revenues, grants, petroleum revenue, and then other receipts. Then we said when it comes to the local government, that is metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies, their sources of revenues can also be categorized into three. That is, dealing with the issue about decentralized transfers or intergovernmental transfers, and then dealing with IGF, internally generated fund, and then certainly donations and other grants monies that they receive. Now, aside the local governments and the central government, there are other covered entities as well, like public schools, public organizations, and other covered entities. The question we ask ourselves is, those covered entities, how do they also get their money? Where do they also get their money from? Now, generally, when it comes to other covered entities, stay with me carefully on this one. Generally, when it comes to other covered entities, their revenue source can be like a decentralized transfer. So like the transfer directly by the central government. So from the central government through a budget allocation. So in the budget, it can be stated that, okay, this year, this institution will receive this money, that institution will receive money, and then also, it can also be the user service charges. The user service charges. So for instance, when you're dealing with issues like the University of Ghana, or deal with any public how do we call it, institution or hospital, what will be their sources of revenue? Sometimes there could be annual budget allocation, that is number one. Then the service charges. You go to the hospital money, or maybe they also invest some surplus cash somewhere and then they get some investment income. That will also be a source of revenue to them. Then you deal with the issue in relation to other things that they sell. Maybe they divest their things or they sell some assets that they have. That could also be a source of revenue to them in that case. So I see a comment coming in. Let me check out that. Nicholas Frimpong said, Nhyira, you have been mixed. After this, I hope you will be taking some courses on taxation, computation of corporate tax liabilities, and also VAT with some questions. Yeah, Nicholas, we have already created some content on the channel on corporate taxes and then VAT. I did a 2-part series, I think about 2 months ago on VAT. So you can check it on the channel even before I come again with other live stream. You can check the playlist on the channel under taxation, I guess, and then you will be able to get those lectures and start watching them. I did a 2-part series on VAT, so you can check that out on the channel. I think the playlist is Taxation and Fiscal Policy. That is the name of the playlist, Taxation and Fiscal Policy, and you can get that. Yeah, Taxation and Fiscal Policy. I did a 2-part series on corporate tax liabilities, determination of chargeable income, and then VAT and withholding tax administration. There are content of these already on the channel, so you can check those out even before I come on with another live stream. All right. So thank you, Nhyira. I will check it out. All right. So that is it about that. So like I was saying, when it comes to other government entities, they are going to be getting their money from where? From the central government through budget allocation, or from user service charges, or they could also make their money, like I said, investment income, okay, or some other disposal of assets or other things. These all could be sources of revenue to them as well. So generally, when we talk about sources of revenues, that is what you need to understand. I see another comment coming in from Kennedy Onyango. I think you said you are from Uganda. I kindly need your assistance in relation to IAS 33, earnings per share and share-based payments. All right, so you can check on the channel the accounting standards. I think we've covered a number of accounting standards on the channel. So you check the playlist titled Accounting Standards Series, and you will see some content in there. Okay. So you can check the channel there, and then you'll be able to get access to those content. I don't know if we already have that on the channel though, but you can check it out and then see on them. If we don't have them already on the channel, you just stay connected. Chances are we'll be covering it on the channel one of these days. Facebook, you comment in the chat box with any questions you have for me. All right. So when we talk about sources of revenue to government, these are some of the things that you need to understand there. please put it in the chat box. Want to check if we have some questions coming from the Facebook feed. Okay, I think just from Kingsford, and I've replied to that already. Okay, from Kingsford, I've replied to that already. So let's go see on YouTube. Okay, then Nhyira Premium is saying that, Nhyira, I have seen the 14 videos on the taxation and the corporate tax liability. We didn't treat any question. We haven't treated VAT as a topic, Nhyira. We can't miss out on the 15 marks. Alright, so you stay connected. If it is something that we will be able to cover within the time under consideration, we will be able to, or we will be covering it on the channel. So you stay connected. Remember to follow me on Instagram, because the meeting schedules and details will be posted on Instagram. So VAT as a topic, you are saying that it hasn't been treated. I think it's already part of my bucket of topics. Let me just check that out if it is there, so that we can plan content on that. Let's see. Topics. Okay. Oh, can you imagine? Okay, it's not here, so let me add that to it. Value added tax. Okay, so I have added that to my bucket of topics, or my list of topics. So Nicholas, yes, Nicholas, you are free. You stay connected. Definitely, we'll be covering that on the channel as we proceed with our discussion. Okay, we'll be definitely covering that on the channel. Any other questions for me? Any other questions for me? So when it comes to sources of revenue to the central government, these are the things that we need to understand there. Now, just a little announcement. We are doing a special, or yes, we are having a limited offer where you can enroll on our study portal and also join our Zoom sessions for the ICA November 2020 examination at just 325 Ghana cedis per paper. So at 325 Ghana cedis per paper, you will be able to get access to the full course, okay? The full course, and get access to the ebooks, the questions catalogs, and everything you need to be able to prepare well for the exams. You will also be able to join our weekly Zoom sessions where you study, ask any questions that you have, and I'll be able to assist you with the team here at the Premium Education Hub so you can prepare well for the exam. So 325 Ghana cedis per paper. This is a limited offer for limited number of students. So if it is something that you are interested in, something that you think will assist you, which I know will definitely assist you, you can call our WhatsApp 050 114 9296 050 114 9296. Certainly, if you are outside Ghana, you add +233 to that. And for 325 Ghana cedis per paper, you get access to our study portal, get access to the lecture videos, the question gates, join our weekly Zoom sessions, and you'll be able to directly study under my mentorship for the examination. So you make sure that you call us or you WhatsApp us if it is something that you'll be interested in. This will be going any moment soon, because it's just a limited number of students we are looking for, so that we can really focus on them and then assist them to be able to prepare well for their examination. So that is it. 050 9296. All right, so any other questions for me? These are what you must understand about sources of revenue to the government. So we've looked at the central government and we've looked at the local government. So I'll be concluding around here today, so that God willing, tomorrow, not next week, God willing, tomorrow we're going to be touching on something else. I see a comment coming in from Facebook. Let's look at that. Nicholas Samwini said, please, what are the means through which the central government transfers financial resources to the local government? The central government transfers financial resources to the local government in two ways. We've mentioned that through the District Assembly Common Fund. So the 1992 Constitution requires that at least 5% of the total budgeted revenue is supposed to be given to the local assembly for them to use to develop their assemblies, respective assemblies and other things. Another way that government transfers revenue to them is by paying their wages and salaries or some of their expenses directly in the Consolidated Fund. And I've also explained how that actually works in practice. So if the central government pays some expenses on their behalf, it is money that they are supposed to have received and pay their own thing. But sometimes the central government will pay it on their behalf. Another way that the central government also transfer financial resources is through what we call the grants in aid. Like for instance, what the current administration is doing in Ghana. I don't know if you are from Ghana though, but current administration is doing in Ghana, the $1 million per constituency, that is also something like grants in aid. So aside the District Assembly Common Fund, aside directly making some payments on their behalf from the Consolidated Fund, there is also grants in aid, and government will be able to give them that money and they can use it to undertake any respective projects that is needed for them in their respective jurisdiction. So Nicholas Samwini, these are the ways through which the central government transfers financial resources to the local government. Let me know if you understand the point very well. All right. So any other questions for me real quick? Any other questions for me real quick? YouTube, I don't know, but for some reason today I think our video hasn't been of the best quality. I don't know. Our video hasn't been of the best quality. So I think that will be solved by tomorrow, so that we'll get a good feed there to be able to help you to prepare well for the exam, so that you can follow everything as we are going on with it. So we apologize for the quality of the video. Okay. All right. So thank you very much for joining the stream. It's always a pleasure coming your way. Today we have concluded on the sources of revenue to government. Yesterday we saw the central government. Today our focus has been on the local assembly and how we'll be able to raise money, or how the local assembly actually raises money. And God willing, tomorrow we'll be looking at something else. So remember to follow me on Instagram if you are not following me on Instagram, because the schedule for the day will be put there. Definitely tomorrow we'll be looking at some other subjects. Based on the topics we have, we're looking at maybe taxation or financial reporting or something on management accounting. We are here to confirm on what will be covered tomorrow. So make sure you stay connected, and same time tomorrow, 4:30 p.m. you join the live stream, and then we can continue with our discussion. Remember, you can call on WhatsApp 050-114-9296 for any inquiries, and we will be able to assist you. I'll see you same time tomorrow.